Welcome to Audit the Audit, where we sort out the who and what and the right and wrong of police interactions. This episode is somewhat different from our regular content, as it is mostly an editorial piece addressing auditing etiquette using our standard episode format. Although this video is very critical of the actions of the recording party, it is in no way meant to be a personal attack on their character, and for that reason, I will not be linking the original video in the description or revealing the identity of the auditor. With that being said, let's dive right in and audit the audit. This video, posted on July 28, 2019, shows first-time auditor John Doe filming an interaction outside of a local convenience store in Topeka, Kansas.
Pardon? Oh, I'm doing it for the safety of that, not for the cop. I'm recording the cop.
He's on camera too.
Although businesses that are open to the public are considered a part of the public, the owners and operators of those locations still retain the rights of private property. Patrons of privately owned, publicly accessible businesses are considered invitees and may have their individual invitation revoked at will. This means that when you are asked to stop recording on a business's private property, they are effectively issuing you an ultimatum of either ceasing to record or be trespassed from the premises. It is not an infringement of rights for a private business to remove individuals from its property for any reason outside of discrimination. While citizens do retain a degree of First Amendment rights on private property, those rights do not trump the rights of the property's owner. Mr. Doe has been asked to stop recording by a representative of the convenience store, and he is obligated to do so, or he can lawfully be trespassed from the property.
Okay. But sometimes they get lost.
It's not lost to us.
How do you know?
How do I know? It goes
Did
straight
you
back
get-
to our computer. Everything is recorded and sent right back.
Are you a
to the computer
policeman?
right now.
Stop
Security officer.
filming. You're finna aggravate DK.
Although the First Amendment protects the freedom of the press, which ultimately protects the right of citizens to record police interactions, there are certain time, place, and manner restrictions that apply to that freedom. In 1989, the Supreme Court designed a three-pronged test, which these restrictions must satisfy in the case of Ward v. Rock against racism. The court decided that in order to regulate speech, the restrictions must be content neutral, narrowly tailored to serve a specific governmental interest, and must leave open alternative channels of communication. It is clear that the subject of this interaction suffers from a mental disorder and that the presence of the camera is exacerbating their mental instability. It could be argued that even if Mr. Doe wasn't on private property, asking him to leave the scene could be considered as serving a specific governmental interest because his actions are directly interfering with the interaction. Asking Mr. Doe to back off is content neutral because the request is not targeted at Mr. Doe's actions themselves, but the product of those actions. Mr. Doe claimed at the beginning of the video that he was recording this interaction for the safety of the citizen involved in the encounter, but sometimes recording an interaction is not in the best interest of everyone involved and only further escalates the situation.
He's telling you stop. So I'm telling you to stop right now, sir.
I know, but my First Amendment right is I can record.
I understand this.
It's my First Amendment right.
Stop filming DK. Stop.
She's telling
You're
you
finna
stop.
aggravate me. Stop. You do not
I-
have my permission.
I made no
will
contact
sue
with
the
him.
brakes off
Listen,
you.
listen.
Stop
This
filming
kid has
me.
autism,
Stop
okay?
filming
I'm trying to get him in a
DK.
car to get him on
You
his way.
finna
Okay,
aggravate
I'm out of
me.
here. I'm out of here.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
See you later.
You guys leave first, and you take a step that way, I'll walk this way.
Yeah.
Auditors and advocates of police accountability routinely point to the egomaniacal grandstanding of law enforcement officers as the root of many issues associated with modern policing. Here, Mr. Doe attempts to assert his dominance by refusing to leave unless the officer and the interacting citizen move first. This self-serving attitude is exactly the kind of behavior that police officers are regularly criticized for power in both the mainstream media and the constitutional activism community. Mr. Doe's actions are a reflection of his character and his perception of what First Amendment auditing is about. He is so concerned with his rights being violated that he is blind to the immorality and unethical nature of his actions, and that is exactly the abuse of authority that the First Amendment movement seeks to end.
We're fine. I'm dealing with him, not you, man.
DK, for you aggravating me.
DK, let's go to the car, man.
He's finna.
I know, he's aggravating me too.
5.
Hey,
I
no.
swear, if
First
I get
Amendment.
the one, dude, you.
The freedoms protected by the First Amendment can be likened to the ability to wield a sword for defense. Although swords are available to anyone, not everyone has spent time developing the skills necessary to properly use one. A sword placed in untrained hands usually results in danger for everyone and protection for no one. Weaponizing your freedoms is a skill that takes practice, knowledge, and discipline, and can have disastrous results if wielded by an unskilled citizen. Unlike a sword, improperly wielding your freedoms has the potential to affect many people who are not in your immediate vicinity. And each time the First Amendment is used for malicious and nefarious purposes, it puts a chink in the armor surrounding the freedoms it protects and allows the justice system to prey on its vulnerabilities. Mr. Doe is wielding the First Amendment in all the wrong ways and only contributing to a growing number of auditors who are slowly chinking away at the social favorability of the constitutional awareness movement and the protections of the First Amendment.
Gonna make me get violent. Stop filming DK now. I was about to go.
Let's go.
You aggravated
Let's
me
go.
again.
DK, I can't control him. Let's go to the car. Let's go to the car. DK,
The touch.
I'm not. Look, you have to go to the car.
Can you please stop? I'm okay.
Seriously,
I
how old are
told you.
Just go. How old are you? He's 14 with autism. Just leave.
The officer is right. This is nothing short of juvenile behavior. This officer is just trying to peacefully escort a mentally ill teenager away from a potential altercation, and Mr. Doe is actively prioritizing his ego over the safety of anyone else. In no way, shape, or form does Mr. Doe's actions reflect those of a concerned citizen holding police accountable or establishing transparency. Like so many others, Mr. Doe's involvement in this interaction has only served to create an already contentious encounter into an even more belligerent confrontation and further deepen the divide between law enforcement and members of the public. That is not what auditing or the First Amendment is about.
You don't respect the First Amendment?
I don't respect you right now, okay? I'm trying to do my job.
You guys walked up to me. I was over here.
Okay,
Way over here. I was
Okay.
20 feet away.
thank you. You can leave now, all right?
You ain't fearing rich.
DK, let's go to the car.
There you go.
It is important to understand that there are deeply rooted implications associated with recording the police. And when you pull out your phone or hit the record button on your camera, you are doing more than making a video. You are documenting an interaction and playing a small role in a growing social movement. When you choose to record the public, and what you do while recording the public not only affects you and the people or officers involved, your recording resonates throughout the backbone of an entire community of people working toward a singular goal. When you record the police carrying out their duties, you are acting as a steward of the constitutional activism community, and your actions reflect on the community as a whole, regardless of your level of association to the cause. Whether you're for the police or hate the police, when you record members of the public and public officials, you are contributing to the welfare of a budding sect of social activism and police accountability. This is especially true for individuals who self-identify as First Amendment auditors. Your candor and conduct will ultimately decide the fate of the auditing community and possibly even the First Amendment. No movement has ever been successful without rallying swaths of the public at large, and if the auditing community continues to build a negative reputation with citizens by being provocative, vulgar, uninformed, and disorganized, the movement will be stamped out as quickly as it rose up. Auditors have to be better than the corruption that they are exposing, or else they risk becoming a different but equally hated version of corruption. It is your duty as a member of the auditing community to respect your fellow citizens whose rights you are working to protect, and to avoid weaponizing the First Amendment in such a way that provides fodder for a seed of opposition to grow. Overall, Mr. Doe gets an F for choosing the wrong time and place to conduct an audit, making an already fragile situation even more volatile in the name of First Amendment activism, and spontaneously conducting an audit with little or no preparation or relevant knowledge. By no means am I attempting to discourage anyone from recording police interactions regardless of their level of legal expertise. The point of this video is to urge those who do choose to record the police to use common sense and be respectful of your fellow citizens. It is not the gas station clerk, the soccer mom, or the construction worker who needs to be held accountable, and no citizen should be a victim of an expression of rights. The mission of this movement should not be to create altercations and cost taxpayers money at the expense of their local law enforcement. The mission of this movement is to create awareness, peaceably exercise your rights, and allow corruption and misconduct to expose themselves. As the late American Senator Henry Lodge once said, "Beware how you trifle with your marvelous inheritance, this great land of ordered liberty. For if we stumble and fall, freedom and civilization everywhere will go down in ruin." Let us know if there's an interaction or legal topic you would like us to cover in the comments below. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more police interaction content.